this with a haircut. You've got this like very sneaky um the Backstreet Boys, and I can't quite pick it out, but
Oh.
it's just like, oh my god.
I thought you were going to say he had a very midnight sneaky uncle look
It's
about
like
him.
Lance Bass. You've got a very passing resemblance
I
to
would love-
Lance Bass.
Yeah, that's all with miso dressing. before.
Like from the Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah, miso dressing is awesome.
Blow your face off.
It's from Costco.
From Costco.
Oh, it's so
Totally
fantastic. John, like, are you understanding what we're saying right now, or do we need to get in a little bit closer?
No, it's fine. It's just got that weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have the we're in a room. I mean, if we set it, okay, what do you have it set to?
Okay, if we set it this way and I get it to this side.
That's what we want.
Okay, how's that?
It's not terrible. It's not
I think
terrible.
this sounds a little bit. I think this is going to sound a little bit.
Okay.
Coming close, Jeff. I think that
Hey,
Jeff
hello.
won't look me in the eyes.
You know what's
What's
crazy?
up?
I caught like Jeff was doing a FaceTime with his family beforehand, and they're like, by the way, Jeff Eccles smells. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But you lead in close enough. It's pretty bad.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
No, I'm pretty bad too, so it's all good. I got that sick mouth.
fish and chips powder sauce early in the day just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Hey, John, do you know what Jeff's smelling? He's smelling my victory is what he's smelling right now.
Oh, I thought you were going to reveal that already.
Oh, I will.
Oh.
All right, so what do we need? You got that.
I've got, yeah. How's your tummy?
It's getting better. Yeah,
Do
it's
you need like some Tums?
the
chips really help. The chewing motion
the
helps break down
the foam is settling.
God. Oh. John doesn't know the details. This is the greatest thing ever. All right, give me a second. We'll be ready very soon. Oh my God. You want some of that?
Yeah, man.
All right.
I mean, if we're going to do a wine bloggers conference, we may as well do the wine bloggers conference. Hey, John,
Hey,
I got a question for you.
I've got an answer.
I'm sorry, dude. I know it's late down there. What do you think about Jeff Solomon doing the opening tonight?
As far as introing, like what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
normally.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's his house. It's his house. You're there. That'd be cool.
I think so. All right. All right, I'm gonna tweet out this shit show. Did you catch any of the beer mile?
Oh, I was I found a ginormous rattlesnake on the way back to the house tonight, and I've been answering a shitload of questions on Facebook about it. And then I saw your live feed and like got to it, and the last thing I saw was your mouth wide open, probably getting ready to puke. Yeah.
Okay, we don't have any viewers, so that's cool. What do I want to do here? I want to go.
Let me get like some mouse in here just to hold it.
What's that, man?
Let me get like a stool in here to hold our food.
That would be great, dude. And John, I apologize. What is it? Is it 10:46 your time right now?
It's 9:46 right now.
9:46. Okay, so you're on Mountain Time.
I'm on Central Time.
Oh yeah, because I'm looking at my laptop. So yeah, you're on Central Time, man. I apologize.
No. Okay, open bags of popcorn.
What?
When a tweet starts out with "Have you enjoyed a hot Mexican hooker?" You know you're looking at a good tweet. All right, what am I trying to do, Jeff?
You're trying to record a podcast with two other people.
Okay. Oh, we got 280 characters to talk about the show tonight. Holy cow, this is awesome. Tonight, the beer mile results. Let's just include Anthony Bourdain in this, man. Anthony Bourdain goes yard on Yelp. Let's at Yelp. Fuck those guys. Let's at Yelp. What else? What else? John, what are you talking about tonight? Anything fun?
I've got a story.
You got a story?
I do have a story. It's about hockey and snakes.
Excellent. Wine Bloggers Con and more. Tune, not tube. Tune, not tone. Tune in live, not love, live. Tonight, the Beer Mile results. Anthony Bourdain goes yard on Yelp, Wine Bloggers Conference, and more. Tune in live right now sorry, John, I'm 4 beers in, man.
I'm 4 beers in too, and I've been up since 6:30 this morning.
I have been up since 4:30.
Yeah, I kind of figured if you drive the DIA
in a snowstorm.
Oh, was it snowing when you left?
I mean, it was, but it wasn't bad. D20 was on a 2-hour delay. There was snow, so everybody feels the need to hammer their brakes anytime somebody gets close to them.
Spinach goat cheese or pineapple Canadian bacon?
For what? For what?
For your pizza.
For the pizza? Hey, man, I'm in your house, dude. You bring that quinoa.
The quinoa
spinach.
Don't worry about that.
Quinoa and fava bean pizza.
What were my options? I mean, I love Canadian bacon and pineapple. Don't give me. That's like. Do you got some sauerkraut you can put on it?
Do you want sauerkraut?
Like Canadian bacon and sauerkraut is like the best pizza that's ever been created. Oh my god, it's freaking delicious.
Like with the pineapple too.
I mean, you may as well. But hey,
I don't have any out on in here.
You're good, dude. You said Canadian.
I leave kraut in the fridge too long. I go, how long has this been here? Like 2 years.
Right, you got Canadian bacon and pineapple. And what's the other option?
Goat cheese and spinach.
Goat cheese and spinach.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Why aren't we recording this? This should be part of the show.
Yeah, I mean, this is straight up part of the show here. All right, so how's this sound, John, for our tweet tonight? The Beer Mile results. Anthony Bourdain goes yard on Yelp. Wine Bloggers Conference and more. Tune in live right now at WeLikeDrinking.com/show. Oh, shit. You should see this salad. Dude, you need to get to Jeff Solomon's house. I'm telling you.
Does it have mung bean sprouts in it?
There's like, I mean, I think something's crawling out of my bowl right now. I'm not even going to lie, but. I can't attach anything. All right, I'm going to tweet this out. Here we go. Oh, I messed up. I didn't include yeah, I got to do some other stuff here. I got to like it. I got to reply to it, and I got to reply with hashtag W Wine Bloggers Conference 17. Oh, there we go. I'll just do that. All right. I mean, oh shit. Like Jeff Solomon's place is like a happy place to be. I'm not even gonna lie.
Cool. I wouldn't expect anything different.
No, not at all. Okay. Make sure I'm recording here. How's the sound, dude?
It's a little rough. It's rough around the edges, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's an on location show.
That's right. That's right. Like, is it where I get all crackly?
There is a roughness to your voices coming through.
Okay. Well, fuck it.
It's not as deep and resonant as it generally is.
Okay.
And that could be 4 beers after running a mile or during running a mile. So,
Oh, dude, that was, I'm not even going to lie. That was freaking terrible. That was not a good experience. What's wrong?
Well, I'm surprised Eric isn't
Your pizza down.
Come on, man.
live.
You're good?
I'm good. Are you good?
Hey, we'll make it fun.
Look at that.
That's intense.
What's intense?
Put it on your computer door.
Okay.
Pretty intense.
All right. So you should be hearing it there.
I don't. I hear John, not you.
Yeah. Because we're right here.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we decided, Jeff Solomon.
Yeah.
For the show tonight. How late are we? We're 53. We're 33 minutes late. 23 minutes late.
Okay.
You're gonna do the intro.
Okay. I
Since
think that's fair.
since you've got the reads right in front of you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm scared, man. I got all nervous.
These guys got stage fright.
Drink 4 beers while running a mile.
Just pretend you're taking a pill from the studio.
Yeah.
So we gotta put some stuff in there. I think I already put some of it in there, didn't I?
We'll be discussing the beer mile.
Yeah. Anthony Bourdain.
John's got a story.
Anthony Bourdain and the Wine Bloggers Conference. Thanks for sticking out with us, John.
Sticking out with us for us? Sure, you're good.
Yeah, you know.
You should have seen this guy. He runs like a woman.
A woman that kicked your ass, dude.
Yeah, that's true. It was a really, hey man, it was a fun, like there was this great like back and forth.
I'm not even gonna lie, there was.
Oh man, you're gonna love this, John.
I'm not even gonna lie. It played out. It played out pretty much like I expected it.
I'm not. Did expect the reversal of fortune.
A little bit, yeah. That was my only chance of victory, and I knew that, and I knew where my strengths were, and I knew where your strengths were.
Oh my god!
All right, John, what do you got going on tomorrow?
I'm kegging. I'm not brewing.
Okay, what time you got to get up in the morning?
Oh, 6:30.
What time?
6:30. Yeah. I don't have to be up. So.
Here's the other thing. Hey, so John, how do I sound from right here?
About the same as when you lean in.
Oh, really? So from here to here, there's not a huge difference?
Actually better with you right about there.
Okay. All right. So
that makes it so much.
That makes it. Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff, Eccles, if you lean in like that, if you just like that, you see the collar of your shirt and your neck is sticking out, you look like a turtle coming out of a shell.
Who is that geared towards?
You.
Oh, yeah. Me. Oh, yeah.
He was making these references the whole time.
It's funny because this is in my way, so I can't see myself. All right. Well, hey, man, we're recording. We got that going. We're recording here. 16 minutes. 16 minutes of wasted time so far. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this. I'm gonna stop. You know what? No, I don't think anything's been worthwhile here, so I'm just gonna kick that off. All right. This is fun. This is like, honestly, I am more excited about what's about to happen than I think I've been excited about anything on the show in a long time.
Let me drink some water real quick.
All right. Let me know when you're ready. Oh, I got to put this down. I don't know where I'm going to put it down, but I got to put it down.
Dude, back that way.
You sure?
Yeah. I'm not the one sleeping in crumbs. I don't care.
All right, hold on. I got to make sure.
Joined at Jeff Eccles' bedroom where the magic happens.
Well, I'm by myself, so that's like not really magic. That's just something bad for the housekeeper.
Yeah, man. I have children.
So it's just like so.
The worst part is
so. Can I tell you something, guys, before we start?
I mute so often during episodes to like fart and burp and all that shit, and I usually wait till this guy's talking, and I can't do that now. This is very uncomfortable for me. Okay, go.
God, come on. You can't be eating salad on the show. That's Solomon's job.
Is it good? That miso dressing is kind of nice.
That's lights out. All right, so I'm sitting at my dinner table this week. My 8-year-old son is sitting at the dinner table. I was like, "How was your day?" He was like, "It was all right, Dad." I'm like, "Oh, really? Like, what made it just okay?" He says, "Well, somebody teabagged me."
Oh no, that's the worst. It was just okay.
Like, it took everything I had to not lose it right there. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh no.
And he's like, "Well, I'm the caboose in class right now." And again, at this point, I'm like, I can barely contain myself. And apparently some girl came up to him, stepped in front of him, and hip thrust her into his face. So he actually did.
Teabagged by a girl. Well, that's impossible.
He got teabagged by a girl when he was the caboose. So thankfully, there's no listeners right now.
Oh, that's the greatest thing ever. If only that was my teabagging experience.
This is fun. I see why you come in here and eat on the show every week.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Oh God.
Yeah.
Can we move along here?
Yes.
A good time and everything, but
Don't start reading anything yet. Okay. Are you ready?
well,
Yeah.
sure. This is very odd that you're taking Solomon's place and Solomon's taking your place because you're just keep munching away in on the side there.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Jeff Kralik.
Fuck. God damn it.
Hey man, when do I jump in? Can you give me a cue? I think I know, but just give me a little cue.
Yeah, man. Who do you want for? We haven't had Allie in a while.
Yeah.
We had Eric recently.
No, you know what, Joe Roberts?
It's been a while since we had Joe. We can go with Joe. Okay. All right. So here's what's going to happen. We're just going to dry run it real quick. Okay.
Okay.
I'm Joe Roberts, onewinedude.com. You're listening to the We Like Drinking podcast, where you never drink alone. In fact, you drink with snakes and beer.
At the sound of the tone, the official We Like Drinking time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
Good. Got it. All right. And then we wait for the bomb. And we do this. And there you're going to go.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We Like Drinking.
You got it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go. All right.
Give me like a really intense like.
Okay. When I do this,
you
you go, okay?
When you do it, you go, yes.
Okay, you got it.
Okay.
So John, this is what Jeff felt like when you were at my house.
Okay, I know that.
All right, here we go. That worked well.
I'm Joe Roberts, onewinedude.com. You're listening to the We Like Drinking podcast, where you never drink alone. In fact, you drink with snakes and beer.
At the sound of the tone, the official We Like Drinking time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
Hey, thanks for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast, episode 148. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the Beer Mile, Anthony Bourdain, and the Wine Bloggers Conference. So crack open your beer, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking!
Okay, listeners. We're on location this week in the guest bedroom of one Mr. Jeff Solomon. I am so excited to be coming to you here from San Jose, California. Go ahead. You can swallow your pizza, Jeff.
San Jose.
Oh, where are we at? I don't even know.
Gilroy.
Oh, we're in Gilroy. I'm sorry.
Capital.
The garlic capital of the world. We are coming to you live for episode 148. I am super excited about this episode. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We've got some victories. We've got some defeats. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's find out who we're drinking with tonight. We've got our constant wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
I'm so prolific.
We've got our head brewer, who's I think 5 hours ahead of us at this time, John Ruyak. And I am your host, and my name is Jeff Eccles. Welcome to episode 148. 148 times we're doing this, and this is, like, listeners, I want you to recognize something. Today is the first day that Jeff Solomon and Jeff Eccles have ever shook hands.
Yeah, it's really weird.
He's
Much bigger in person.
like there was that moment where you came walking up to me in the bar and I turned and saw you and it was like I recognized you, right?
Yeah.
But I'm only used to seeing you for like the neck up.
Same thing.
So it was like this whole body that was there that I was like, what is that?
What's up with his body? I was thinking too, like, what's up with Jeff Eccles' body? Hey, everybody at the Wine Bloggers Conference. You'll be wondering that about his body as well.
And Jeff Solomon as well.
I've seen Jeff undressed because in the hockey locker room, so it isn't any better.
Yeah. Welcome to 140. 148 is going to be a special episode, listeners.
I think it should be called Chateau Courier.
It probably will be.
Hey, man. You should see what we're drinking.
Speaking of which, hey, John, let's start with you, brother. What are you drinking down there in the Costas tonight?
I'm drinking coconut or leaf cutter pale ale. It's my Cascade and Citra extravaganza.
Is that a new brew?
Oh, no. I changed the recipe on the pale ale about 6-8 months ago and really it took a long time to dial in. I think most brewers will tell you pale ale is the toughest one to get. And this one took 15-18 months to really dial in, and I finally did it. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it now. And I'm getting a lot of compliments on it, and we're selling a lot of it in our accounts. So it's not perfect, but I'm happy with it. I'm happy.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. So Jeff,
yeah,
man, why don't you let us know what we're drinking?
We're being craftsmen tonight, so it was kind of fun. Like I took Eccles on a mini tour of the South Bay as we were driving home in rush hour traffic tonight, and I rolled down the street. I go, okay, We're going right on Sunrise. We're going right on Comanche. And to your left is Chateau Courrier. And he rolled up and he saw this house right here on the label of this wine. And so tonight, I am pouring the 2016 Sangiovese from this one vineyard in Yuba County that shall not be named.
Man.
And seriously, no joke. And it's funny because the back label is whatever bottle I Valpolicella on the back, but whatever bottle I cleaned out. So straight up, this wine is from this vineyard that their flagship is their Sangiovese, and I just put my dirty ass feet in there, and it's in our glasses right now, and it's really good, right?
I took a drink right as you said. I put my dirty ass feet in this.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do it right after the beer mile, but
so is it a session Sangiovese?
13.5.
Then no.
Yeah, 13.5.
Man, that is good, dude.
Yeah. Like and all kudos to this dude's vineyard that shall not be named. And
like there's some serious funk to this, and that may be your feet that's coming through.
It's most likely my
but
feet,
there's some good funk to this. There's some tannins, like it is drying everything out. It did not pair well with the goat cheese pizza.
I'd imagine it would.
It did not go well, but the second drink, man, this is good.
Nice,
you get some secondary notes of some toe jam and
like honestly, dude, like if I was writing notes, toe jam would be one of the things that I'm getting on this wine. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, as long as you're not plucking the hairs out your teeth, I think we're all good.
Yeah, man, it's all good. No, that's nice. It's nice. You know, it's very earthy. Like this is very old world, if I had to describe it, because it's a lot of earth tones to it. There's really good tannins. This is an enjoyable wine, man. Nice work.
Yeah.
So Solomon, let me ask you a question. A vineyard that cannot be named. Did they give you some like secondary fruit that didn't pass muster, like some of the grapes in the clusters weren't quite ripe, or why do you think you got these grapes?
So they shan't be named because, you know, the way that labor laws work in California, and I'm okay saying this, the way that labor laws work in California is it actually is illegal to have volunteers come over and help pick your grapes if you're selling your wine.
I get it.
So I've got a friend that has a friend who owns a vineyard up in the Yuba Gap, just outside of Tahoe National Forest in California. And every year they have a picking party. And, you know, I wish I could tell you on air, like this vineyard, because they're fantastic. And I love the wine that they do anyways. But, you know, I'm not going to put them on that. Just know it's possible I could bring one of these up to the Wine Bloggers Conference and have some nerds rip this shit apart. But let me tell you something. Like, I really enjoy this. You know, there's a whole lot more work that goes into like making wine for the market. But like those of you that are ever interested, like if you've got a vineyard where like they're used to making wine off of their natural yeast, and you can just get a bucket, like a fermentation bucket full, and stomp it yourself, you can get some really fun wines.
Like here's the one thing I'll say about this. I would never guess Sangiovese. Yeah. I really wouldn't, you know, and I don't mean that as a diss or anything like that. It's just that it's because there's a lot of earth to it. The tannins are there, but there's good fruit to it as well. And the acidity is not as high as I would expect out of like an Italian Sangiovese or anything like that. But this is a completely enjoyable, funky, fresh, DJ Jazzy Jeff kind of wine.
Yeah. This is a 2016, and if you drank it in and we're in 2017. If you drank it in 2018, I think well, the tannins are up there.
The tannins are up there, man. They'll last.
I might go to like 2019. Don't hang on.
Yeah, don't hang on to it.
long.
If you get yourself some Chateau Courier,
Yeah.
that should be the 48-hour rule.
By the way, if some random person like picks up some Chateau Courier, like, what the fuck? Get out of my house. I don't know you.
But just real quick, isn't it interesting that labor laws in California are such that you can't really have volunteers, and yet aren't almost all major vineyards picked by all volunteers all the time?
No.
It depends. I mean, if you're talking about like the best of the best vineyards, you really are talking about a whole lot of migrant workers that are coming in. That
Okay.
Honestly.
So maybe it's just the smaller places that just have family and friends come in and do that kind of stuff. Because I saw something online about
you're gonna see like and it's interesting because like not a lot of folks like they don't go into it and then really know what's going on like with those labor laws, but you talk to enough people and then you find out, and it's like, don't have volunteers pick your grapes if you're selling them. Like I wouldn't, pay your workers, and they're really not getting paid that much anyway. So, it'd be nice if you did.
You know what? You talk.
What the heck's going on?
Talk amongst yourselves. I got some stuff to do.
He's got stuff to do.
Oh, I don't know what it is, Solomon. He didn't do a great pop culture reference, so he's over on his phone looking that shit up so we can do this segment.
I think I'm cheating off of the images if I
just gave up. All right. Okay. So, when I'm traveling, things are getting out of control. Listeners, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize for episode 148. I mean, I'm going to say this is going to be an entertaining episode, but it's not going to be a real crisp and concise and on point episode.
Entertaining to me. I'm 3.5 Coors banquet beers in.
You're way less than 3.5 in.
You're way less than 3.5. He's down to a half. He's down to a half beer.
Something like that. Did you even finish the last one?
I did.
Oh, okay. All right.
This guy is a cheater.
All right. Okay. Well, if we're talking about that kind of stuff, it must be time for grape, hop, or pop culture reference. This is where I give these guys some kind of term that I'm like making up as I go, and they tell me if it's a wine grape, a beer hop, or a pop culture reference. The term this week is Riesling. So is Riesling a wine grape, a beer hop, or a pop culture reference? I'm going to go ahead and start with John Ruyek this week.
I'm going with pop culture reference. Wasn't there a circus like Barnum and Bailey and Riesling? Riesling Brothers.
I think that's a really good call. Jeff Solomon.
You know what it is? It's weird. It's like out of the Urban Dictionary. Riesling is when, like, somebody says something to really piss you off. You're like Riesling from what they said. You're like, man, I'm straight Riesling right now. It's fucked up.
That's a great guess from both of you. Unfortunately, somehow you're both wrong. Riesling is a wine grape, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, it's primarily grown in Germany, but it's a bunch of other places, and people think it's sweet, but it's really dry, and it's really awesome, and you really should drink it if you haven't. And that is Riesling.
Yeah, we're talking about you.
It would have been great if you said hop and just everybody goes, what the fuck? No, it's totally not.
This is going to be the most out of control episode ever. All right. if the Jeffs are fighting over what I should have said, it must be time for Booze News, where we discuss interesting, noteworthy, or frankly, I don't even know what the hell we're doing tonight, kind of stories. All right, this week, I don't even have it up here. Do we want to play the audio for the I mean, this would be a good one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just want to hear like the beginning of the Anthony Bourdain.
I mean, you just kind of want to hear it, right? So, Jeff.
Yeah.
Lead us in while I try and make some magic happen here.
Okay, so excuse me, I was eating some delicious goat cheese and spinach pizza. The reason why Eccles trucked himself all the way over to Gilroy is because we're heading up to the Wine Bloggers Conference tomorrow morning, which, as you're listening to this, is yesterday. And we were talking about where we wanted to go to lunch when we get up there on Thursday. And, you know, we were yelping some different things.
I wasn't. You were.
I was, because I think Yelp is a great place. Like when you're dropped into a new town, just Yelp it up and see where the hipsters are going. Eccles, I'm not going to call it out because, you know, Guy Fieri is a well-accomplished chef, but Eccles was like, we need to go to Tex Wasabi's in downtown Santa Rosa. And I just started sending him these like 2-star and 1-star Yelp reviews. And his response was to share a little clip from Anthony Bourdain. I think he has it set up right now. Here's what Anthony Bourdain thinks of Yelp.
There's really no worse or lower human being than an elite Yelper. They're universally loathed by chefs everywhere. They're the very picture of entitled, negative energy. They're bad for chefs. They're bad for restaurants. You know, you open a restaurant, you struggle for a year to put together the money, and you work your heart out. And then, you know, 10 minutes after opening, some miserable is, you know, tweeting or yelping, you know, worst dinner ever.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, that ain't right. No, I know no sympathy there, and I think you'd have a very hard time finding a chef who has anything nice to say about elite Yelpers. It's a contradiction of terms. It's like jumbo shrimp. You know? How can you be elite and a Yelper? I'm perfectly happy with, you know, Instagram and Twitter as a fully democratic bathroom wall that anyone can write on, and they do. It's up to us to translate what we to winnow out useful information that we might use in a sensible way from this seemingly chaotic yet democratic scrawl put up by many different people with many different points of view. I think increasingly that's the way we're going to have to get it. It's already the way we get our information. It's already how we get our news. Why not make decisions about restaurants the same way? I think that's inevitable. Well, this is the new world we have to live in, all of us.
Thank you for that, John. There's some good editing coming in my future. So, John, you have a business that relies on things like Yelp and Untapped. What are your thoughts on it, and what do you think of what Mr. Anthony Bourdain had to say?
You know, people are going to think because of what I do and what I'm going to say that there's a little bit of sour grapes, but I'll guilty of the same thing because I've got 900 and some odd check-ins on Untapped on different beers. But I've come to realize there's a difference between something that I don't like and something was well made, regardless of whether I like it or not. You know, you can understand. You may not care for something. Someone who is a producer, you can understand the difference about whether you know that the person who made it had quality control they were doing, and maybe you don't agree with their direction, but that doesn't, you may not like it, but it doesn't make it bad. So it's tough because people are judging as a brewer, as a winemaker, as a restaurateur, as a chef. People are judging your regular basis, and we've certainly had our good reviews on Untapped at Angry Ghost Brew. We've had our bad ratings, and I've had to grow a thick skin, against some of that stuff. And part of it is you have to have confidence in yourself. At this point, I made this comment to somebody else. Time when we first started this brewery, I was a guy that brewed beer. But now I'm a brewer. I know what I'm doing, and I make a good product. And I know that several of my products are really, really solid and very good. Made improvement. But if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Some people don't like first growth Bordeaux either. That doesn't make it bad. It means you don't care for it. And to have some person, some handlebar mustache guy who's drinking an apricot Hefeweizen on a Budweiser commercial, because assholes are real. And if I ever have my own brewery someplace, I'm going to put up a thing that's, a big red circle with no beer snobs allowed. You're there to enjoy something and enjoy the camaraderie and all that other horse crap. So, people that have some sort of objective opinion about an experience they have in a restaurant or do a bad Yelp review, well, how do you know they didn't just brush their teeth with Crest 5 minutes before they had that garlic something, You don't know. So it's the subjectivity of it and the immediate emotional rush that gets people to do stuff like that isn't always helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't have much to add to that, honestly, John. I mean, I really think you nailed it. Is that when you have, and this is really funny because this is going to come back on us a little bit as well. But if you're not informed or educated on how to review something, you really kind of lose some credibility because, as you're saying, John, you're coming in with emotion as opposed to being able to say, okay, maybe the service wasn't great, maybe this, maybe that, but everything was as it should be, so it should get a decent review, as opposed to the waitress didn't do exactly what I wanted, therefore I'm going to give them a 1-star review and seriously impact this person and their family's livelihood. And that comes back on us a little bit, and that comes back on some of the people listening, is that a lot of us, when we got into blogging and we got into wine or we got into beer and we jumped on these things, we had opinions right out the block. And like when I first started on a completely different site, there was some, this is what I feel, that I put into my reviews. And it took me a while to get to a point where I was like, okay, I don't like this wine, but it is made well.
Yeah.
And therefore I am going to give it an appropriate score for how it's made as opposed to how I like it.
Yeah. To me, I think the bigger thing is just ratings in general, right? And here we are in this culture where it's like we're surrounded by numbers. Like, hurry up and give me the number. And it doesn't matter if the number was subjective or objective. You know, it's I see a number and I gravitate to that. You know, I will say, like, that's the shitty part about Yelp. And I think that if you pressed Bourdain a little bit more, because I think, you know, the headline to the link to this little interview is Bourdain rips Yelp, you know? And I think, you know, specifically he's talking about elite Yelpers. And like, there is this weird thing as a consumer. I get it, where it's like you've got this new power that you never had before, where I can tell a business exactly how I feel about my experience,
and I can be an influencer. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I can be an influencer.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. I think it's less about the business and more about the person, and that they can all of a sudden matter.
It's weird
though. How if someone came into anybody's job and judged them on a spur of the moment?
Yeah, you know, okay, John, I agree with you, but at the same time, you kind of had to know that going in.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you were producing something that's going out to the masses. I mean, that's part of it, is that you have to accept reviews for what they are, right?
Yes. Yeah, you do.
But
I agree.
Time, my stance is that you have the authority or the right to expect that person giving you a review is not coming from an emotional state.
You know, look, I tend to tone down what people say about my beer because they're here on vacation. Dude, man, that's one of the best IPAs I've ever had in my life. It's one of the best on the planet. And I'm like thinking to myself, you know, that's really nice. I'm glad you say that, but I know in my heart that it's good, but it isn't top 10 on the planet. I'm really not. You have to take that with a grain of salt. And I'm always trying to improve, and I know where we need to improve. And there's things that I can't do to improve until I get the new system and control temperatures and reduce oxygen post fermentation and all kinds of different things to maintain a more pristine atmosphere than what we currently have. I mean, our sanitation procedures are second to none. You know, there's some exposure to post fermentation oxygen that I just can't help, and pumping procedures and things like that. Those things will change with the new system, and hopefully we get a much more consistent product and something that you could never find a fault with at all, and says that, oh man, it's the best IPA I've ever had in my life. I'm like, well, I'm very thankful, but I thank you so much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So I take that with a grain of salt, but also where the people will say it just really sucks. I don't know what you're drinking. This is a good beer. This is a solid beer. This is well made, and if you don't like it, I'm not gonna take that to bed with me tonight, because I know you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and
so you have to know how to temper those things.
I think there is a difference there. And, you know, my feeling with Yelp on some level is, you know, there are people that Yelp everything, right? And they give their honest review everywhere that they go. And I would imagine that the folks that Yelp the most, that's what they do. And I would imagine that, and maybe Bourdain is going to say something differently there, but I would imagine that, I would imagine that, you know, if you compared their reviews in the early years to a couple years down the road, that they get to this point where they're like, you know, in retrospect, I probably would have changed that review over there. And some people do go back and edit that stuff. But if I'm thinking about like the everyday person, like if I am going to jump on Yelp and leave a review, and I remember when I first got Yelp, you know, I left like 5 or 6 reviews. I would imagine, you know, from the get-go, the people that are Yelping, it's you had a feeling about it, either totally positive or totally negative. This was the best thing ever, or this was fucking awful. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I'm cussing on this. It's all those beers from earlier.
Yeah.
So, you know, what I'm kind of thinking here is like when I read like a 1-star Yelp review, oftentimes it has something to do with service more than anything else.
I agree.
And that shit does matter, because even if Yelp didn't exist, I remember walking into an establishment one time because I really wanted to buy their product. And I walked in there and the place was empty. And I don't mean empty like no customers. I mean nobody there standing there saying, hello, how can I help you? Mm-hmm. And I stood there because I really wanted to get this smoothie at this place. I stood there for 10 minutes. 10! And this was in 1997, and I didn't have Yelp, and I didn't have any sort of forum there, right? But everybody that I talked to about that place, I'm like, man, F that place. I went in there, and I got not bad service, I got no service,
right?
You know? And so those things do make their rounds, you know? And I think that, you know, a business does need to respond to stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it used to be like the little like comment cards, but it's like if I'm, and maybe those still exist too, but like if I'm in a place like that, like, you know, F you, now we gotta like get writer's cramp. Like,
right. And here, okay, here's the difference in my opinion. Like there's people out there, as I've said before, that are responding very emotionally to what they may perceive, right? And with a comment card, you could, as the business owner, you could read through everything you've got, and you could, and I realize that this is kind of the same thing on Yelp, and you could kind of aggregate the numbers and say, overall, this is where I'm in. And there's these fringes, right? There's these fringes of, this is the best place I've ever been. And you're like, wait, I own a Chipotle. And there's these places that are 1-star reviews. With Yelp, that same thing happens. But here's the problem is that those fringes are what's highlighted on Yelp, right? Yelp highlights the best and the worst. And you don't have a way of saying the worst. You don't have a way of throwing that away, of saying that's an anomaly and that doesn't mesh with 99% of the reviews, right? So because it's prominent, right? You can say 5-star reviews, 1-star reviews, and you can go read them. So it becomes more on the consumer to say, okay, I'm going to throw that away. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, but to me, I mean, it all comes back to, I don't even know where I'm going with this at this point. God.
No, I just figured it out.
That's what blew up. That's why
I possibly am. Go ahead, John.
It's just like the Olympics and figure skating. You throw out the low score, you throw out the high score, and you go for all the stuff that's in the middle.
But you can't on Yelp. That's the problem. I mean, that's the thing.
They need to do.
But here's the other thing. You can't throw that out in real life, right? I'll give you a real life example from yesterday, right? We're heading up to Santa Rosa for the Wine Bloggers Conference, and my boy Jeff over here is saying, hey, man, we're going to go to this one particular brewery. Anybody that's around, come meet us up, right?
Yep.
And without a Yelp review, somebody goes, don't go there. that place is shit.
Yep.
And based on that one person from that one interaction, I don't think we're going to go there.
We're not going to go. And here's the thing. And I'll give you some credit here. That is based on that, as well as, damn it, I hate losing. I really hate losing. That and based on a severely low Yelp and Google review overall score.
Who the fuck reviews on Google? What's your problem? Well, I'm gonna two-star this Google search.
So I'm saying that I took in 2 sources plus a confirmed, let's say, authoritative figure that we trust.
Who's an expert in wine. We're talking about beer. And like, don't get me wrong, because I kind of want to go to the other place.
I do too.
Anyway.
And she didn't say anything about the product.
Yeah.
So anyway, and our listeners right now are like, holy crap, these guys are meandering all over the place.
But here's the thing, right? We could end up going to this one place and love it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we say what we feel about this one place, all of our tens of listeners, the next time they're in Santa Rosa, they will seek that place out. Oh, yes. We have influence. Oh, yes.
As Eccles is nomming on his goat cheese and spinach pizza.
Yeah, you know, my salad's already gone.
By
All
the
right.
way, my son grew these tomatoes in the salad.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Jeff Solomon's son does not like me.
No, he's shit. Right, yeah.
I'm totally playing. Okay. Well, good discussion.
Parker gave you the thumbs down there, Eccles, huh?
He was he was not happy to see me, but I totally get it. He feels like crap, so I get it.
His face is like raw from wiping his nose.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good booze news, guys. Man, the Yelp, those Yelp conversations that we have go on forever. So that's just how it is. So thanks, guys, for good booze news. I always appreciate it. Let's move it into, what are we going to? What's next?
Do I have a story?
Yeah, go for it, Jeff.
Boat, boaty boat.
Hey guys, I got a story. So, I've had some. It's been a long time since I've been home. It's been 2 months, and it's been a little tough. And she was sending some good vibes my way, and she goes, "I was sending some good vibes your way," and I said, "You must have been, because I walked into two couples." And I said, "Hey, where are you guys in from?" And they're like, "Maryland." I'm like, "Maryland? I used to live in Maryland. I used to live in Harford County." They're like, "Harford County?" "Yeah." So I used to live in Abingdon and Bel Air. Bel Air? We live in Bel Air. I lived in Country Club Acres on Briarcliff Road. And he's like, "Yeah, Briarcliff, that's like three roads over. We live on West Ring Factory Road." I'm like, "Oh, man, that's so cool." And she goes, "Where does Angry Goats come from?" I'm like, "Angry Goats comes from a hockey team that I played on and brewed beer for." And they're like, "Hockey? Did you play hockey at Ice World when you lived in Hartford County?" I'm like, "Yeah, I played at hockey. Sure enough, I captained the team and won a couple of championships." She goes, "What team was that?" I said, "The Dragons." She's like, "No shit, my brother played on the Dragons." "Sure?" I was like, "Yeah, this guy's name was Dave and something, whatever." I said, "I don't remember any Dave or anything with their last name," but I said, "You sure it was the same Dragon?" She's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Well, what did the jersey look like?" And she's like, "It was like red, and it had a white circle with a dragon in the middle holding a hockey stick." I said, "That was my team." Pretty cool to meet people. Yeah, that was pretty neat. So her brother played on a hockey team that I was the captain for. We won 2 championships in a row. Actually I was second in the league in scoring season. 22 goals and 14 assists in 20 games. Not bad for a fat old guy.
So he played after you left, or before
He started playing on that team like 2 years after I left. But they lived on West Ring Factory Road. So here's another story. So we're talking about hockey and snakes, right? Because Joe thinks we talk about snakes and beer on the show, and we do. So Wing Factory Road, and I had a babysitter that lived off the West Ring Factory Road. So one time I dropped my kids off. This is pretty funny, actually. I dropped my kids off, and I'm driving to work. The drive on West Ring Factory Road, or just off of it, was along a creek. So this big black snake is going across the road. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I've got a bag in the car. I'll grab this snake. I'll put it in the bag. And later on that day, well, I'm driving. I grab this rat snake. It's about 4 feet long. I'm driving through Bel Air, Maryland, and the snake freaking bites me on the arm. And I'm driving a stick, and it bites me in the arm. I kind of let go, and rear end this dude on a Harley Davidson. He turns back at me, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna die. This dude is 300 pounds, and I hold up this rat snake in the car. And he's like, oh shit, this guy's nuts, and he takes off. Well, I go to work. I put this snake in a pillowcase, but it got out in the car. And I'm in the parking lot at McDonald's. I'm a training manager for McDonald's, but I take care of my the potential that I'm training, and I'm looking for the snake out in the car, and it's disappeared. It's like under seats, and I can't find it. I can't get it. And finally, after a while, I think, oh fuck it, it just got out, right? 2 months later, and Jesus. Get this, this is my wife's car. 2 months later, I'm driving home up I-95 past the mall, and this black snake pops out underneath the dashboard right by my leg. I'm like, holy, the snake just popped out underneath the dashboard of the car. And I drive home, and I'm like, hon, there's a snake in the car. She's like, what? If that thing if it'd been me driving, I would have been dead. So it took me driven off the road or through traffic and been T-boned and everything else. So 2 months later, the snake pops out of the dashboard of the car, and it took me like 2 hours to dismantle the car and get all the plastic out, and it was stuck in one of the holes inside the frame of the car, and we squirting it with soap and stuff like that to make it all slippery and get that snake out. Finally got that snake out. It drank like 8 ounces of water.
Oh my God.
Out of a cup. That thing was dehydrated to the max. I can't believe it actually survived. I took it into the woods across the street and it crawled away. Yeah, there you go. That happened about 25 years ago.
Well, at least we're sticking with current events.
Greatest story ever.
Wrap it up.
But it reminded me when I met those people from Bel Air, Maryland, where I used to live a long time ago.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where it's been most of my days. Chilling out, back, relaxing, all cool and all, catching some snakes outside of the school.
That was done.
Hey, dudes, smell you later.
Listeners, all right. Like, you've been waiting for a long time. And here we go. It's time for... What do we have our eyes on, or what do we have coming up? John, besides 20-year-old...
Yeah, I'm heading home next week. We're going to just show next Wednesday, but I'm heading home Thursday, and I'm going to be home from mid-November till after the first of the year. I need a break.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
Yeah.
Glad to hear. Glad to hear you've been able to brew enough beer to do that.
Jeff's bringing back some olive oil for you, so drive up to the Springs after you get back.
Oh, yeah, and just some olive oil. Sure, cool.
Yeah, yep, some good stuff from here. Okay, hold on, Jeff Solomon. Boom, 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 boom.
Here's what I want to highlight, because obviously I still won in the We Like Drinking Fantasy Football League this last week. I'm still in first place.
Yeah, but who has more points than anybody this week?
So here's the thing. The top scorer in the We Like Drinking Fantasy Football League this last week was John Ruyak, who destroyed
Who?
the Smoking Bulls. John Ruyak, the smoked whale testicles, destroyed the Smoking Bulls 142 to 101. The amazing part, and I'm sure John has been telling people all week long, he's been stopping strangers on the street. Was Roethlisberger your starter the whole year?
Yeah, and he was, but I traded out Roethlisberger for Tyrod Taylor last 2 weeks ago, even though Roethlisberger had a bye week this week. But I just had a feeling about the game before, which he outperformed his projection, and last week, the Jets have a pretty good run defense, so they were going to have to throw the ball a lot. So I figured, let's go with it. So 30 points out of over a projected 17. That's pretty cool.
I love Tyrod Taylor because he's got that really high floor, but a ceiling of 30 points this week is insane.
What?
But here's the best part. I'm thinking back to last week, and Ruyak never asked me for fantasy football advice, and it was at the end of the show, he goes, I got this tight end, Zach Ertz. He's really good, but I see that he's questionable this week. Should I start him? And I go, yeah, man, he's got a great matchup. Don't worry about it. And then Sunday,
then he's out.
I'm watching. Here's the thing. I'm really into football. Really just because I like nerding out on getting more points than everybody else. And so I'm watching game day Sunday morning at 6 in the morning in California. And I'm watching Zach Ertz warm up live on the field. And he stops and he turns to his trainer at 6 a.m. and he goes, I can't do it today.
Oh, no.
And I saw this live on TV. And I go, should I tell John? And I'm like, nah, fuck that guy. And then your tight end got a 0. Your tight end got a 0, and you still threw up the most points in the league this week. Congratulations, John Ruyak. You climbed down the cellar from 14th place to 13th place.
Nice.
You did it,
work.
man. You did it.
Nice work, John. Any other changes in the rankings that are?
Well, what's funny is I pick up Eccles from downtown San Jose today, and we're driving back, and he goes, I'm really excited. I'm in second place now, and I go, what? You are? I was very surprised. What happened in your matchup?
Well, and I hate to continue this trend, but our favorite Patreon, our newest favorite Patreon, who was a lurker, was someone who didn't say a word until he went 5-0 in the league, and then he was like, all right, bitches, I've kicked all your asses and I'm 5-0, so I'm gonna let you know who I am, and I'm gonna sign up to be a Patreon. And then he's lost 4 straight. Hasn't won a game since that point. So Nick, tight game, good game, good matchup. But the pathetic mean Jeff was victorious in this victory with one holy pope.
And by the way, I do want a rematch against Kimberly. I made fun of her for drafting Tom Brady and letting me get Le'Veon Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And the week that we play each other, Brady and Bell are both on a bye.
Oh.
I'd love to just go again and just show you how much better my team is than yours.
Yeah.
That only scored 60 points this last week.
I think I have Kimberly this week, and I really do think she is going to annihilate me. It's a bad week for me.
It depends on what the judge says.
Not even that. I've got another player suspended because apparently I just have a team of hood rats. And I got multiple players on buys, and it's just not a good week. But that was your fantasy football 5-minute.
Bum, 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 bum.
All right. It's interesting because going into this, we make our show notes well ahead of the show, and the original show notes I had myself talking about the beer mile, but I was like, man, Jeff Solomon is just gonna kick my ass at this thing, so I'll let him gloat for a little bit. So I think I'm gonna keep it that way, Jeff Solomon. I'm gonna let you gloat about our beer mile tonight.
So, is it on the We Like Drinking Facebook page right now?
It is on the We Like Drinking Facebook page.
There's a live Facebook video on the We Like Drinking page on Facebook right now. And I think Jeff is going to do some amazing edits to make this awesome, very epic breakdown of our beer mile. We started in the driveway of Chateau Courier.
Yes, we did.
We ran down exactly 0.125 miles, turned around at a fire hydrant, came back, and we drank a beer for every quarter mile. I got to tell you.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Well, I got to tell you. I'm really upset. I'm really upset about the beer that we were drinking.
Okay.
I got some advice going into the beer mile.
Yeah.
I think you did as well. I got some advice that our beer should be warm. It's easier to chug.
Yeah.
So I did not refrigerate the beer.
I think that was a terrible idea.
I think that was a really dumb idea. I think it made it foamier.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyways, when we started this race,
before we get to that, how did you envision the beer mile going down?
What I envisioned was you and I were going to be toe to toe on chugging beers. That wasn't going to be an issue.
Okay.
And that I would just outlast.
Okay.
I've run dozens of half marathons.
Yeah.
And a full marathon once too. And I'm not here to lay out times, but I'm a good runner.
Yeah.
And not on a sprint. Hey, don't challenge me on a sprint. You're gonna make me look foolish. But I can outlast. And that is my superpower.
Okay. So here, if going into the race, this was how I saw it. If I had a chance, I knew you had the athletic ability over me. I had no chance in the running. So
after meeting me and seeing my weird body, you still felt
the only chance I had was to outdrink you. So I went into it the mindset of my focus needs to be 100% on making those beers go away as fast as possible. Then when I'm running, to keep my torso as rigid as not hoppy as possible. I needed to keep the swishing down. So those were my two things going into it. Okay, so proceed.
So I will say, and my thing was, I'm gonna let him beat me on chugging beers. Yep. And I'm gonna wait for him to fall off a cliff.
Yep.
When it comes to running. And I was surprised, how much more quickly he drank his first beer. And I will say, when we go back and look at the video, at the end of each beer, we turn it over. And I swear,
don't even.
2/3 of his beer just poured out. Poured out. He's a cheater.
I mean, at least tell the truth.
It looked like a lot came out. You guys can.
Four
I want you to look at the videos and watch us both turn over our beers and watch what happens to Jeff's beer every single time, and watch what happens to mine.
All I'm hearing is excuses.
So
why did you shotgun them?
You can't.
Yeah, you can't. And I think it's kind of dangerous during a race. Somebody's jabbing that thing. So anyways, Eccles takes off a good 10 seconds before I do. And I'm like, not a problem. I'll catch up to him. And I did pass you at the very end of the first lap, or it was very close.
Yeah,
I mean, right next to you.
Yeah, we came in at the same time, which was my plan the whole time.
We came in right around the same time.
And that was the first time you called me a cheater.
Yeah, well, he did cut the corner, but whatever. And the video will show that. But whatever. No, hey, I'm not going to give away the ending, but he won. The video will show that he's a cheater. We rolled for beer number 2, and I on lap number 1, like I ran pretty fast.
He did
to keep up with him,
and I was like, at that point, I was like, I have a chance because he ran way too fast.
I ran very fast, and I belched the entire time. Like every step was like, rah, 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 rah. So, we roll in for the second beer, and it was kind of like that same thing, but we were both like very much like, I felt very fatigued. I think Jeff might have been playing me, but like I felt very fatigued, and I was like, oh, Eccles is going slow. Everything's cool. This is awesome. And I'm like, I'm not going to break any world records.
Yeah.
I had delusions of doing that when we first started. And I looked down, and like when we came in for our second beer at the first quarter mile, it was 2 minutes. Like if you break 8 minutes for a beer mile, you're like top 100 all time.
Yeah.
Like it's up there. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm breaking records. But I'm fatigued. My belly's not feeling too good. And I see Jeff is taking it kind of slow too.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, I'll kind of take my time. I'll just kind of pace myself. And I was maybe halfway down. And then next thing I know, I look over and he's running. He dumped out half of his beer and then he started running. And I'm like, okay. Powder real quick. I run again. It was almost that same thing where it was like, I caught up. I made some ground. He maybe pulled in for the third beer, maybe 5 seconds ahead of me.
It was right there. Yep.
And then we're drinking the third beer, and I think you were feeling it at that point.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I do not feel well.
And I wasn't feeling so hot either. And I had this weird, people tell me I smile a lot. Like people are like, hey man, why are you always so happy? I'm not. That's just how my face looks. But like we had like a Facebook Live thing going, and I'm holding this thing, and I look over at myself, and I've never seen myself frown like that before. I was like, and I'm just sweating, and not sweating from running, but like sweating from all the gas. Like it's just really weird. And
so
it was
you had meat sweats on the candy episode, so you had meat sweats again during the beer mile.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad. And then at one point, like I was supposed to hold the phone for this next lap. We were trading off on these Facebook Live things, and I'm supposed to hold the phone. And I just look over at him, and I looked at myself. I think that was the thing. I saw myself, and I'm like, "This isn't good." I just gave Jeff the phone. I go, "Here." I just run over to the side of the house.
No. This is the second beer. You need to have the second beer.
Third beer. We had done 2 laps, and I was on the third beer.
No, you finished you did the third lap.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So he takes off.
In the lead again.
After drinking the third beer.
Okay, so let me just say at this point, no. At this point, we finished 2 beers, and I take off in the lead. So the race is half over, and I'm in the lead, and I know I'm in trouble. I know I am in trouble. Here's the thing about the beer mile. You literally can hear the beer sloshing around in your stomach, and it is 1, horrible to hear, and 2, so much worse to feel. So I take off, And like I had done some little tricks in it. Like the first lap, like when I got around the first corner, I took off at a dead sprint for a while just to kind of increase my lead, just to put some pressure on Jeff. Because I knew this was my only chance, was to beat him on the beer. But at this point, I was like, I'm in trouble. I'm going to have to go slow. And I know Jeff is going to pass me. And he did. And it was, where did you, it was on the comeback.
Yeah. I felt very invigorated. So it was like on our way out. Yeah. It was the third lap. On our way out, we ran the corner over to Blackfoot Court. And then we've got this turnaround by the fire hydrant.
Mm-hmm. And I had the lead there.
And
no, you took over the lead before that.
I took over the lead about 30 feet before the fire hydrant.
Yep.
You know, very, very regulation here. And I was in the lead, and I'm like,
for the first time,
I'm like, I love this feeling. And I am gonna make this gap so huge.
He did,
and I
watched him too. I watched him as I came around the fire hydrant. I could see he had his heels were kicking a little higher. He had a kick in. I was like, "You're screwed, Jeff Solomon."
It honestly, I felt invigorated.
Yeah,
and I was like, you know, when you run marathons or half marathons, you talk about the wall.
Yep.
And you talk about like crushing through the wall.
Yep.
And it was like, this is it.
Yep.
I just power through.
Yep.
And I got this. All I have to do, it was on the last beer. All I have to do is drink this one last beer, and I'm going to beat Jeff on this race.
Yep. And let me be clear, I anticipated losing this race the entire time. So I'm coming up. Jeff's already there. He's got his beer open, and I'm coming up, and I'm feeling terrible. But I come up the driveway, and I look at Jeff, and he's got the candy meat sweats going. Like it's not the running sweats. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, Jeff's not feeling too good right now.
And this is where I had the weird frowny face. And I was like, I go, Jeff, hold this. I gave him the phone that we were doing the Facebook Live video on. And I run over to the side of Chateau Courrier on my own home. And it's a weird feeling where you're throwing up, but you know you're not like sick,
right?
You know, where
it's
like
a good thing.
It's a thing where it's all about space, and like, you know, I'm not trying to like gross out like our listeners. But apparently I make a particular sound when I throw up.
Holy shit, dude. When Jeff Solomon throws, I think 3 blocks away, people could hear the he's a very vocal vomiter. Let's just say that.
It's like, I believe it's like this. A brugga, 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 brugga. But like with a squeal, like, and like, you know, I just think of like the soundtrack to like Stranger Things, like when the shadow monster comes in, like there's a lot of like stuff going on. But anyways, I felt like a champion right afterwards.
He did.
And then I went back and like, you know, Eccles is still trying to power through his beer. And I'm like, dude, if Eccles throws up before the end of this race and I beat him, then I win.
Yeah.
And so I tried to like, you know.
He tried to punch me in the stomach.
I did. I wasn't going to actually punch you in the stomach, but I feigned that I would. And then what I did was I was like, okay, here's the thing. I can't guarantee that he saw me throw up. So I was like, I'm going to run by him and be like, by the way, I didn't even throw up, bro. I was just messing with you to get him to run harder. And he goes, I saw you, man. I saw you. So then he just slows down, and he's like, and then I made up a rule mid-race, and like, I go, but if you go up after, like, within 5 minutes after we get back, then whoever got him first wins. So, anyways, the final time was, I showed up like just at 16 minutes, but I had a reversal of fortune. So the winner at 16 minutes and 15 seconds, 14 seconds.
That's terrible.
Is it terrible though?
It's terrible.
Like now after having experienced it, and by the way, just so you know, I've run a half marathon at a 7:14 pace. Like I'm no slouch. I've broken 20 minutes on a 5K. Like I'm no chump. But Eccles, that takes like so much stamina and so much like wherewithal and stick-to-itiveness and just dumb assery. You know, congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
You did it. You did it.
I did. And that last lap, it was all about going slow enough to not throw up. That was my whole plan at that point. So if you saw the Facebook Live, I apologize. Thank you to everybody that commented on it. There was some really good comments. It was a lot of fun. And look for a more pristine, if that can be, video to wrap it up.
So polished.
So polished. So that was the beer mile. So transitioning from that to the reason that I am here at Chateau Courrier is it is time for the Wine Bloggers Conference 2017. I am so excited for this. It gets kicked off tomorrow. It'll be in midstream at the time that this show gets launched. Man, all I can say about it is just really look at our Instagram feed. If you're not following us on Instagram, follow us. I'm going to try and do a lot of Instagram over the weekend. I'm super excited about it. We've got some really good stuff coming up with Rodney Strong Vineyards. We've got
live wine blogging Friday night and Saturday night around like 5, 6, 7-ish.
Yep.
I think honestly, just go to winebloggersconference.org and look at the schedule to see when live blogging is, because I think we might do like a Facebook Live thing.
We're gonna try and do a lot of live stuff, a lot of on Instagram, Facebook. It's all gonna be happening. So just if you're hearing my voice, and it's Friday, November 10th, sure, something like that. Go check out our Gram and Twit and Facebook feed. And my Lord, if we've run through all of that, it must be.
You like drinking water? Oh.
Last call. John, did you want to say something before we got into that?
We like drinking one. That's the numeral 1.
That's number 1 on Twitter. You know, if it's that time to lock the doors and kick everybody out, I don't know at this point. You know, we like to have you listeners do some stuff. I always hate to go to John because we don't type it out anymore, and he apparently, after almost 150 episodes, can't remember this simple stuff. So I'm going to go back to you for the
not even close.
John.
I did say we like drinking 1. That's the numeral 1 for Twitter. I got that.
And the others are?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's Instagram, there's Facebook. You can go to, you know, iTunes and leave us a review. You know, Solomon can tell us about that.
And if they were going to look for us on Facebook or Instagram, where would they find us?
Oh, we like drinking.
Very good, John. That was your best one yet without reading, I gotta say. And you know, I gotta say, listeners, if you're a fan of podcasts, you know how important the ratings and reviews are. And I mean, we need your help. I know you're listening. I see the numbers. I see you're out there. And you just need to be like Low Dolphin.
Be like Low Dolphin.
Be like Low
Low
Dolphin.
Dolphin's my favorite.
Be like Jeffrey McKinney. Be like
Doug Trapasso.
Be like Whale
Whale
Tate
Tate
Johnson. Go out and leave us a review on Apple Podcast, otherwise known as iTunes. Throw up that 5-star. Give us a review. Let us know what you think. It helps us. It helps the community. And it just means the world to us. And we'll read your review on the show. Jeff, if that's not enough for the good people out there, I'll give you a minute. Go ahead and swallow your food.
No.
Okay.
Come review us on Yelp, right? No. You know where's a great place to interact with us and really just help us on the show? Is become a patron with us through Patreon, which is a great way to donate to just your favorite artists in general on a monthly basis. You can get started for as little as $1 a month. We've got some cool swag that we can send your way. But honestly, I think the big thing is, knowing that you are contributing to artists doing their thing is kind of a really fun feeling. So hit us up at welikedrinking.com/pledge to find out how you can make awesome drinking podcast even more drinkified.
Absolutely. And I will say, like, every single one of our Patreons, like, I feel like I know them personally, and I've gotten to know them, and I interact with them a lot more than I do any other listeners. And it's great. I mean, Jeffrey McKinney, Sloan, Dolly, your cursing emails made our day so much happier.
Yeah.
Could you read it for me? Because I didn't see it.
You didn't see it? Okay.
No, you didn't forward it to me.
I apologize, listeners, because this is going to take some time. And I know, dude, like the last month, we have gone like an hour and a half, like every episode. All right. So let me see if I can find this.
Hey, I will say, Sloan, I'm looking forward to our matchup this week in the Fantasy Football League, because you're in last place. Your team sucks. I thought you were good at this thing. Like, wasn't that
Okay. All right. So I've got Dolly's email. I'm not going to read all. Dolly, if you're panicking right now, I'm not going to read the whole email, but I'm going to read the part that was my favorite. If you remember last week's episode, I did a movie quote
about Kevin Smith
from a Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah.
And Jeff Solomon went on a patented Jeff Solomon rant about how much he hated poor Kevin Smith.
No, I think he's a perfectly fine person.
Uh-huh.
And he made one good movie one time called Mallrats.
Yeah.
But like all his other movies suck ass.
Okay. All right. So
just to be clear, Mallrats was really good.
Okay. So this episode is going to go right now from clean to explicit. But here's a portion of the email we got from Dolly. Last, I agree with Solomon. Fuck Kevin Smith movies, and also fuck Judd Apatow movies. Actually, fuck all Hollywood movies that don't involve Rambo or Dolomite or aren't titled Unforgiven. Bunch of hippie propaganda bullshit. Got 2 bottles. Oh, and then we go on to other stuff. So yeah.
Can I say, I think Judd Apatow makes some great films.
Yeah. Give me some examples.
I don't know. Friggin' that one movie that one time.
That one.
Superbad. Superbad was a great Judd Apatow movie.
Superbad was pretty good.
Superbad was great. Wasn't he behind Anchorman?
Paul Blart Mall Cop?
No, but Anchorman, yeah, Anchorman, 4-year-old virgin knocked up.
Trainwreck.
Step Brothers.
People love that movie. I thought it was all
Dude,
right.
Trainwreck, man.
LeBron James as an actor, he's pretty good.
Okay. Where are we at?
I think we're wrapping up.
We did last call, yeah.
Oh,
Did clean house, lock the doors. Yeah.
who
We did
subscribed?
that.
Who subscribed? Who subscribed?
Oh, fuck. All right. So
Okay. Well, I need some editing time here while Jeff looks something up.
here's the thing. We need to make sure you guys are listening to what we're saying. And we try to drive it home with wait, who subscribed? You grow from someone fictional or non-fictional and twist it around right to the podcast somehow. Okay. There are very few listeners that are going to get this one, but these guys better get it right away. This is the best one ever. Okay, you guys ready? Woo!
What?
Whether you like it or whether you don't like it, the We Like Drinking podcast is the best thing going today. Woo!
I'm doing my Brutus the Barber beefcake strut right now.
I'm going to start with John.
No, don't start with me. I need Solomon to give me a hint.
I've only done this one now 3 times in this segment.
Oh,
Jeff Solomon.
That is the styling, bro violin, master of disaster.
No,
I don't know. It's Ric Flair. Woo!
Very good. So if you haven't listened to all our episodes, one of our very first Wait Who Subscribes, I did Ric Flair. And then like 4 weeks later, I did it again. And Jim and Jeff were both like, dumbass, you like just did that one. And I was like, wait, I did? And so there you go. Also,
Thanks for listening, John.
you can also in the show notes for this episode links or stories or mentions we had at welikeDrinking.com/podcast. Well, I don't know how we became an 1.5-hour podcast on every single week, but apparently we have. So if we're approaching 90 minutes, it must be time for me to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. John Ruyak.
I think I've got a black snake and outdrink you and finish your beer mile before you guys.
Most likely. Jeff Solomon?
If you're gonna spew, man, spew in this.
And I'll just wish I had some Queen music to play right now because I am the champion. And I'm about to choke.
Champions, my friend.
Bam.
And we will keep on fighting till the end.
Bow, 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 bow.
We are the champions. We are the champions.
And with that,
No
I'll say-
time for losing. We
thanks
are
again
the
for joining us. So the Drinking Podcast.
of the world. Freak.
Drink alone.
My God, way off.
Right? You're not gonna die, man. Don't die.
What up? All right, I'm gonna take that Dolomite. I'm gonna take the Dolly part out.
Okay.
Save us 5 minutes.
What's that?
You all right?
What's that, John?
Once while you're fit. It's not good for you.
What's he saying? Man, freaking potato chips killing me.
Don't swallow your spit. It's not good for you.
Oh, damn it. It's a chip that's stuck back there. No, I'm gonna take the Dolly part out of the show. One, I didn't ask him if it was okay to talk about it. Two, you know, he was dropping some rough shit there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take that part out.
We'll save us 3 minutes.
Yep. Well, every week gets a little bit more of a hot mess.
Well, you got me singing for 30 seconds all by myself. That was real rough.
Jesus.
You get, man. This guy drank like